Okay, so this is the first tweet I saw for the Lakers, and then I took a deep dive into it. I obviously said that this one was the one of the better, more positive media day. Uh, I think their off season was so bizarre because you and I think anybody that was an NBA fan knew that the three didn't work: Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and LeBron. So we figured that like Russell Westbrook was gone. Like we thought that he was gonna get flipped for Miles Turner and Buddy Hield, and he never did. So they're end up going to be in this kind of forced marriage unless they decide to flip him at the deadline. But going into media day, I couldn't believe it. But I mean, obviously it's easy to. They're all social media stars as well as NBA players. So you see that they're very good at putting on a face for the media, especially LeBron. LeBron's been there multiple times. But then I think what's different about this one is that it seemed pretty genuine. I mean, I think they all three like each other, and I think that even with the addition of Pat Bev, it looked like it was not as awkward as it was going to be. I mean, even Russell Westbrook has played with Rondo before, and Rondo and Russell Westbrook didn't get along each other at one point. So I feel like they can make it work. And the media day was a good start, even if it doesn't go well. And then another one was Western. This is from David Ham and Robert Palinka. Westbrook's been awesome. Talk about the communication and trust in the front office was developed with Russell Westbrook during the offseason. Now, this is your typical tell the media what they want to hear, but I honestly felt like it was pretty genuine. Like they had probably the options to move Westbrook. They could have threw in another pick. I knew they said that they didn't want to throw in that other pick, but if they really wanted to buy in and try to make themselves more competitive, they could have. They're really just trying to buy in, and hopefully that they could have done it. And the thing is with Westbrook is, I think they just needed a better coach because with Westbrook there was a lot of opportunities to do a short pick and roll with LeBron and Westbrook that was really good. Westbrook also shot at a 40% clip on the corner three, so I think that. With the right coaching staff and maybe a retooling, which they did, and went younger. They're going for a more defensive mindset. That they could be a little bit of a better unit this year. Chris Haynes. I asked Pat Bev what's his favorite LeBron highlight. This fool, he going to say the block I had on LeBron. LeBron, what's with Pat Bev, man? He got issues. So this one I just pulled just to show that Pat Bev and LeBron seem to be getting along. I mean, we all know how Pat Bev is, especially with the media and stuff. I honestly feel like they're going to get along. If there's issues later on in the season, I feel like they can address it. I really think so. And if not, flip them. I mean, somebody's going to want Pat Bev. I don't think his signing will be a bad thing, or his trade. They traded for him. I don't think it'll be a bad issue. I really think they could flip him. I mean, somebody needs defense, but I really do think they're going to get along really well. And the one last thing with the Lakers, I'm not going to super focus on this, but Chris Nunn's back, and that's at least another guard that they can throw into the lineup, and because they just need depth. All right, so this is the Hornets, and I'm not going to linger on this too much, but we need to address that the Hornets had such a really bad offseason with the Mikal Bridges story, allegedly. Well, yeah, we all know, but allegedly, Mikal Bridges, or I might be not Mikal, Miles Bridges, came out and abused a partner, and there was a lot of CBS called, and it just kind of left a dark cloud on the Hornets off season. And you were wondering, and they were in the talk to Russell Westbrook to try to pick up salary, do a kind of a salary dumping move with Gordon Hayward, and try to go younger. I'm glad they're going this route of just kind of sticking it out, and just if it happens, it happens. I honestly, in a golden world, they probably should tank for the Victor Wembanyama draft, but they did do one thing right, and which is give the fans something to look forward to. And if you not everybody's obsessed with the Ball family, but there is a certain amount of the media that is, And them signing LaMelo Ball, even if he doesn't get a lot of playing time, allows them to have at least one strong thing going into the media day. So I think they get a little bit of a W here, even if it's the smallest amount of dub. And that's all I have for the Hornets. And now we're going to go with the last win, I think, on the social media. Yeah, everybody else had some decent social media days. Or not social media days, but media days. But I honestly think the Brooklyn Nets probably came up with the biggest win out of all of them. Because I think a lot of people, they're also somebody that had a very bad offseason. Kevin Durant requested for a trade, and then Kyrie requested for a trade. Ben Simmons was this kind of another dark cloud in I mean, as a 76ers fan, I know when it comes to the Ben Simmons thing, where you get really frustrated because you're like, okay, you're going to play. And I also someone that struggles with mental health, and I understand his struggle, but a lot of it was super convenient when the time comes. But nevertheless, let's read these tweets. Kevin Durant says that the Nets could have fought through adversity more as a group. Mentions the Warriors and the Mavericks as examples of doing that. He says that the lack of fight from the Brooklyn was a reason that why he had doubts about staying with the Nets, which is an interesting point. And then he just tried to run, tell, and leave, which is very condescending. But like, I like that at least he was trying to be transparent and at least more real than he normally is with his media presence. I kind of enjoyed that take instead of it seeming like a run of the mill, like give you what you want to hear. I think Kevin Durant staying lets Brooklyn, unless injury barred, I think they're one of the favorites coming out of the East, and that's coming from a Philly fan. And this is the why I think the W was so large for Brooklyn, which was the Ben Simmons saga, which was preparing for the media day. He has been basically streaming like 7 days a week on Twitch to, I guess, try to get into the media world, because you're gonna have people coming for his neck. Because when you stay so far away from basketball for so long, and then you try to come back, you're going to have that kind of the shadow behind you, or that chip on your shoulder, where a lot of people are going to go at you, especially where he has when he's went out for mental reasons. And I understand why he did it. Especially with the back issues. He really addressed the back issues, how he was having trouble walking down the stairs, or even sitting was uncomfortable for him. But I think what's really fascinating about this is he seems to be back to like 2019 Ben Simmons, where he seemed a lot healthier and a lot happier. He seems to be more confident. I've seen where he says he's going to start shooting threes. He said it every year at 76ers, so we'll see how the season. I'm not going to be tricked by the preseason. He'll probably shoot a couple threes, maybe make some. He did that when 76ers played I think a China league, a China organization. I think it was the Shanghai Sharks, and he hit a three, hit like two threes, and I said, oh crap, we're actually going to be contenders, which we were that year anyways. But who knows? He says it every year. Maybe this is the year where he starts shooting threes. If they are, we're in trouble. All right, here's another W. The last W, and then we go very negative into the other teams that really, really did a bad job. And I only have one picture of the New Orlean Pelicans, but they did such a good job because Zion got healthy. Zion, I'm telling you, before he went out, he averaged 27 points. And the highest efficiency, I think, with that amount of points being scored. Insane. And now he looks ripped. I think he'll be able to play more than like 24 minutes. I don't know the exact minutes he's playing, but he for sure wasn't a lot. So this could be the year where he actually averages a lot more minutes played. You have CJ McCollum, who got a 3-year extension, which is great for him. Hopefully he can stay healthy, so they have that guard. Brandon Ingram looks happy. He got the afro going. I mean, he says he feels healthy, not just looks healthy. But, I mean, obviously, I genuinely believe him. He's had so long off. Hopefully his foot stays healthy, and he just looks so much healthier, man. Like, I've never been so excited. They're going to be the team I probably watch the most past my team. Okay, and this is where we take a turn for the worse. This is where we get really, really negative, and I'm gonna try to like talk in depth. So when the Mavericks signed Christian Wood, and they kind of they did this flip where they traded Porzingis for Spencer Dinwiddie and uh, Davarns Perndas. I think I'm definitely mispronouncing that name, and I'm sorry. Um, Everybody was like, "That's kind of an L trade," and then it really worked out good because you had a secondary leader for the second unit, and then they lost Jalen Brunson, and that was a major loss. But it definitely glad that the Mavericks didn't overpay Jalen Brunson, and I still think the Knicks may have overpaid for Jalen. Um, so they got Christian Wood for nothing. I would thought that was a massive W was earned from from the Mavericks. They got another big one that can pick and pop, one that can roll to the rim. The only thing that Christian Wood maybe lacks is defense, and maybe on a winning team he would have the effort to do it. Because we don't know if it's a lack of effort or if it's just a genuine like he struggles on the defensive side. Now, the reason that they got him for so cheap, and now that I realize it, was last year he got into a altercation with the coaching staff, and him and Kevin Porter Jr. Got into an altercation with the coach, and they got kicked out, and they went home. They ended up not finishing the season, and he got hurt. And you know how that stuff goes when you could be hurt and just not play any more games. So when the Mavericks picked him up, I was like, okay, new situation, new thing. And Jay Kidd, Mavericks head coach, came out and was like, JaVale McGee will start for us. And that wasn't that concerning for me because Jay Kidd was on the Lakers coaching staff when they were running JaVale McGee at the center. He ran like 15 minutes uh, and then they kind of alternated. Dwight Howard kind of played most of the center minutes, but you know what I'm saying. JaVale is a really good hype man. He really brings the energy. He does a lot of he runs a transition really hard, and that's why he was going to start. He even said in the press conference, "Hey, JaVale's going to start, but Christian Wood's going to get most of the minutes." Boom, that's it. Great. And then I'm out of order. Then Christian Wood said, "LOL," and it was just like, why? You know what I'm saying? If he was, you could be self-aware enough to be understanding that it's media day. You're going to have a lot of attention on you. Even if this LOL wasn't directed at anybody on the coaching staff or J Kidd, you could have just not sent the tweet. Like, and now I'm sure the chemistry is probably already affected. Uh, I mean, they have the whole season to get over it. I mean, the cream rises to the crop. I mean, I don't think Porzingis and Luka got together really well, but they played well together. And then it just Porzingis couldn't stay on the court well enough to be the force that he should have been. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's one of those situations where he could have just not tweeted it, and now we're kind of going into the season where like the Mavs are like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like he could have just not sent it, and now we're in this situation, and now we got to go backwards. Okay, now let's talk about the Celtics. The Celtics have had a awful off season. I'm doing a whole video on it, so I'm gonna try to just focus on the media. The players looked like they were in a vice hold of awful. They're all getting asked the same question. I genuinely felt bad because like every player got asked the same thing. Did you know about Idoka? And I'm probably saying the coach's name wrong. And they all go, no, it's frustrating. Wish we knew. And that could be true. They may have not known, but it definitely seemed like they knew a little bit of it beforehand, at least to get them prepared for media day. And it's just an unfortunate situation. Chris Maddox, which is a Boston reporter that covers the Boston Celtics, allegedly the Celtics Hands may be tied when it comes to offering details about the Udoka suspension, but there is a takeaway from Boston's media day is that the players are frustrated that they don't know more, and that's basically the burning point. Or it's either that or they're frustrated they can't say more. I don't really want to comment on the Udoka situation because it's either it's horrible because I Matt Barnes had a take on it and then Matt Barnes retracted it, and if you know Matt Barnes, he doesn't retract anything, which is concerning. He probably did something bad. Maybe it was just an overreaction and he got suspended for a year and he'll be back next year, or he's done with the organization. But what's hurting them the most is they gave away their assistant in Will Hardy, and now they're going to be without a strong voice in the locker room. Their other, I don't know the head coach has stepped up. I know he was an assistant. It makes me nervous for them because they're going to have two new assistant coaches on top of a new head coach. They're dealing with the Robert Williams injury. It's just an unfortunate situation. So let's look at the next screenshot. Marcus Smart said, "Nobody died. I still love Emmanuel as a person, and I'm probably reading these names wrong, so I apologize. As a coach, he led us to the finals. It's just something unfortunate has happened to him." I don't like that take because it looks like, I mean, say he did do something absolutely horrifying, and I just don't like that he's defended him. I get it. I just wish maybe Marcus didn't say anything, but Marcus is a dude that just said, like, not just says things. He's just a guy that, like, man, I don't know how else to say that without making him sound like, make me sound like a jerk and make him sound less than an intelligent dude. I wish he would have just thought before he spoke. And when you're in the media day, I understand that, like, you're asking a million questions and you're trying to give the good take, and you do like your head coach, so it's just one of those situations. So we skip past the Christian Wood thing, and now we're at the biggest L. The biggest L of the media day, for sure, was the Suns. I honestly thought this was out of left field. I understood going into it that the Suns were going to be another contender next year. And heck, they could come out and score and win the first 13-0, and they'd be dominant. And if they play like that and go into the playoffs and stay the same energy, they could be as good as they were last year and even better. The issue is, right before media day, Jay Crowder asked out. He doesn't want to go to training camp. He's like, I want to find a deal that really fits me. He was upset about the Cam Thomas trade, or not trade, but the Cam Thomas, like, kind of squeezing into the starting lineup and getting more minutes to him. And Rodney was on the roll for Jay Crowder last year. I think Jay Crowder is a pretty good player, and he usually steps up in the playoffs, plays good defense, and he's kind of that greed player that really every team needs nowadays. But that kind of maybe hurt the chemistry. And then you see Deandre Ayton. I screenshot this because it was the best one image of Deandre Ayton. He looked like a hostage, and I've seen this, and I looked at it. Ayton looked like a depressed hostage. I'm not sure he wanted to be back. I think when the contract was up, you have to just take what the best offer is. I think you want to go to the Indiana Pacers. I genuinely believe that. They offered him a huge thing, and then the Suns met a qualifier. So he's a restricted free agent. So if the Suns match the money, he has to go back. So I don't know if there was bridges burnt, and now they're just staying, and now he's kind of like, I have to stay here for 4 more years. And it's probably one of the most frustrating things I've ever seen of a player that doesn't want to be there, and I feel so bad for him. He's clearly not going to be like second or third option. You could say that his offense isn't there, but at least like on another team like the Pacers, he would have got more touches, and we would have seen, hey, he has some good post moves. I mean, he definitely finishes around the rim off of a feed off of Chris Paul and D Book, but I feel for him, man. If he doesn't want to be there, he doesn't want to be there. But like, oh, you could tell he did not want to be there. upset by Robert Saver's situation, which was obviously the head coach, or the not the head coach, but the franchise owner came out and said horrific, outdated, racist, bigot things, being doing sexual misconduct, and it's just frustrating, especially in like 2022. I mean, it's not very good any year, but man, nowadays you just shouldn't do that. You can't do that, and you should be barred from the league forever. He shouldn't just have a year off of no pay. He should be forced to give the team over, and I feel pretty strong about that. Uh, Jay Crowder's absence, I just went over that. The lingering effects of the Deandre Ayton contract trauma, and the Talladega Suns looked a bit shaken on media day. I saw another report. I didn't screenshot it, but somebody asked Chris Paul what he can learn from the Dallas Mavericks situation, and he said nothing. So that that should tell you something right there about where they're at right now. Because at least like with the media question, you could have been like, "Well, we learned that we need to be tougher," but or like you could say something. It's been long enough where you could probably figure out why you lost that. You can't just say the other team played better. You could say your defensive rotations were good. Maybe we didn't stop Luka. A lot of it was just defense, and that comes down to just effort. And you could just say that there's a lot of reasons. Uh, I just don't know, man. Media day for me was fun. It was fun to kind of look around and see, okay, this is what we're going into. It was good to see all the new rookies, but man, I just can't believe that the Suns, and out of everyone, the Suns and the Mavericks start off the worst. Kind of poetic. But all right, I will see you guys later.